Our next guest is a writer, is an actor. From what I understand, he may dabble in music as well. Please give a big welcome to Andy Black. You know, hi. You know, so,
I want your soda, so I want to sit in the chair.
no, I'll get you some.
No, it's all right. Thank you. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Amazing.
I'm gonna do something really important right now. I'm gonna take my wallet out of my back pocket
That's
so I don't have wallet ass.
Yes.
A lot of years I have wallet ass.
So this is a Q&A, as you guys have already figured out. This is the microphone so you guys can come up and ask some questions. We'll get through what we can in the short time we have together, and then the questions that you don't get answered, or maybe you're not comfortable in this format, and to be back at this table. The party continues across the street once we're finished here.
Yeah, oh yeah. We're throwing a party across the street.
That's right.
We're not. Sorry, that was a lie. Well, you can think of it as a party.
That's right. So before they jump in, yeah, I know it's weird.
What the fuck is this?
I think it's so they can see what we're holding.
It's nice to hold. It's surprisingly soft.
Yeah, and it keeps it from like,
That's nice, yeah.
like you don't get a rug taste.
I might wait for one of these on stage that can hold it like this.
You should. When we see that, yeah.
That was my question for the Q&A. What the fuck?
There's your answer. Every mic needs a rug. All right. So, stop. Before we go to them, I gotta say, dude, Batman.
What? Me?
Batman.
Batman.
You were the Batman. You are the Batman.
That's very nice. That's the greatest thing that we could ever say to me.
That
You're the
image
Batman.
Yeah. That I embody the character to you in some capacity.
Absolutely.
I got to do his voice once.
Yes, tell us about that. How'd that go together?
So it was during the lockdown. Tyler Bates, who's the mega composer of Watchmen and so many other things. I didn't know him at all, but he got a hold of me and was doing the Dark Knight Death Metal series for DC, and I had been suggested to him as somebody who was obsessed with the character and might be a good person to do the voice for the series. And it was the most exciting phone call of the whole time. Especially at the time, we're stuck at home, there's nothing you can do. And I kind of joke that there's very few things in my life that I've been asked to do that I feel I was more prepared for than that.
Right.
I didn't have to think about what my Batman voice would be. I had been doing my Batman voice to myself forever before. And it was a blast. So it was an incredible experience, and to get to be involved in some capacity with the character that I love so much, and to get to be, in some small way, to have played Batman in some capacity was nice.
Let's go to you guys. Give us your name and then ask your question. Sure. You can step right up there. If you can get around your...
Check, 1, 2, go Chiefs. Okay, cool.
You say goat cheese?
Go Chiefs.
Goat cheese.
I mean, listen, she's just really good.
Alright.
Alright, so, my name is Ian, and,
Hi.
Wait, what?
I said hi.
Are you with us again? Or are you like...
Wait, what?
Are you with us here? Like, make eye contact?
Nice.
Pull in.
I got you.
Alright, here we go.
Alright, a little backstory for this question. I co-host a podcast called Radioactive, and one thing we like to ask our guests to give a signature question. And it goes a little something like this.
No, he does not blow it up.
Could you imagine? Anyway.
Yes, I have.
So for your sake, you're in Blackout Rides. So let's say you're touring with the guys, and your bus breaks down, and your only refuge is a haunted house.
What's the scenario? We're driving on the freeway in the bus, it breaks down, and we look out the window, and there's a singular place.
Yes.
And it's a haunted house.
Yes, sir.
Now, is it advertised? All right, let me.
Just a mystery machine?
Well, no. Is it a house that is haunted, or is it a haunted house? Do you understand the distinction? Is it people in costumes who are paid to be there, or is it demons?
Oh, it's like a house that's like plagued by ghosts.
Okay, sure. So the demon one.
Yeah. So you guys are chilling in the haunted house, right? You're hanging out, and you are haunted until dawn by a dead celebrity of your choosing.
Okay.
Who do you want to haunt you and why?
Who do I want to have haunt me?
Yes.
Are they dead now, or
Yes.
this is the notification that they're going in?
No, it's like, so Betty White, Toby Keith, like,
Just gonna run through the list of people who died recently.
Yeah, let's not do that. We'll stick with the Batman thing. I'll go with that one. That would be fun. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very
He seems
nice.
like an affable ghost.
Yeah.
Yes. And if he's doing Adam West from Family Guy, I mean, you know.
Sure, yeah. Because Adam West is Adam West from Family Guy. I was gonna say Adam West would be doing himself, but that's I guess that would be a fun ghost. Adam West filleting himself. Was that the answer that you thought?
Yeah.
A ghost jerking off?
I'm taking too much time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to say what you said.
Hello.
Hi.
What is your name?
AJ, I have two questions for
Hi,
me,
AJ.
so my fiance decided not to join me up here.
Why did you not join up here?
And
You're a fiance. It's like
social
picking.
anxiety.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, so back on Dark Knight, that's metal.
Yeah.
And doing Batman, if you could bring any Batman comic to life, either like animated, like an animated film, or a live action movie, which one would you pick?
It's actually interesting because I had missed this one. It's not that I missed it. I knew about it, but I hadn't read it. And then on the flight here, I finally read the Three Jokers, and I loved it so much, and I would love to see that represented. So I think it'd be cool too if you could take different people who have played the Joker to represent the different ones. But yeah.
Okay, and then my fiance question, if you could pick any three bands, present or past, for your ultimate concert lineup, which would it be?
It's not going to be one that anybody else is going to be that into. The lineup will be super fucking weird. Well, I went with, so Alkaline Trio is my favorite band. So the Alkaline Trio, Bruce Springsteen is my favorite songwriter. So immediately already a weird thing. And then my first favorite band as a kid was Kiss. So Kiss, Bruce Springsteen, and Alkaline Trio. Hello.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Allie. How are you?
I'm good.
I have two questions as well. One, if you could collaborate with any female singer that you haven't collaborated with already, who would it be?
That I haven't already?
Yeah, whether it's from like a rock band or any kind of singer.
Yeah. It's strange because I was going to say Marie Brink, but then I have collaborated with her. So I forgot about that. And obviously, my number one is always going to be my wife, Lila. But yeah. Yes. So let's see. It'll be interesting. It's a random answer, but my mom listened to her a lot when I was a kid. It was Melissa Etheridge.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty cool, very raspy, cool voice.
Yeah. And, out to my window.
Yeah, that's actually perfect. That was exactly right.
So Melissa's not available.
And then my second question is, where do you get your inspiration from? Like when you write your music, where do you get your inspiration from?
Everything's different. It depends on what I'm writing. Primarily with Blackout, we do, at this point, the thing that interests me the most in doing records is to have it built around the concept. So I love world building, I love character design. It probably just comes from my love of comics more than anything. So I always kind of say, like, when we do a record, I like to have a world that I can stand in and look around and I know what every building looks like, I know what every character looks like, it's fleshed out enough that when I'm sitting down to write a song, I know the motivations of the characters, I know what I'm trying to tell in the story, but beyond everything else, it's always a way in which you can relate it to yourself or your life. So I don't like to ever tell a story that I don't feel, and I know that's not the same for everybody. A lot of people write songs that are based upon ideas that are more high concept concept or ideas that aren't directly related to them, but I like to always find ways to have them be similes or ideas that are similar to emotions or things that I've gone through or ways that I want to represent what I'm thinking.
Yeah, awesome, thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
My name's Christian.
Hi, Christian. I'm Andy.
I saw you before, we did a selfie yesterday.
Excellent.
I had Ben Venture on the other day.
Fantastic.
I looked at combination though, a lot of this info I've heard has been really awesome so far.
All right.
And I know
With Adam West jerking off, or which one?
Mostly talking about the other stuff.
Okay. I just wanted to see.
I know about the unweathered wing thing. You got a really good choice for villains, Joker, Two-Face, etc.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask though, something a little different from Batman though. Did you ever tour with Avenged Sevenfold? If
Yeah.
so, what was that like?
Fantastic. They're one of the kindest bands that we ever opened for. We opened for them in 2011. We were very green. It was a new experience. It was our first ever arena tour. And all of the dudes in that band are incredible, extremely kind, very gracious, treated us very well. Couldn't ask for a better group of people, honestly.
All right, fantastic. Thank you.
Hi.
Hello, yes. I feel like you just keep seeing me. I'm so sorry.
Sure. Yeah. That's what happens when you stand in front of me.
So I kind of have just two questions.
Okay.
One of them is my questions, one of them is my fiance's question. He's sitting over there.
Hi. Good to see you.
So my first question is, would you ever tour with Law and Order again? Because I was in high school when you guys did Black Mass tour, and I was extremely broken on Instagram. But would you ever tour with them again? Because I asked Ronnie this question, and he said you guys would have to open for him. So.
Sure, yeah. I mean, the reality is, hugely successful, and Ryan's been doing this for a really long time. I think when it comes to anybody that we're going to tour with, the question is sort of nebulous, right? Because it's whether an offer comes or whatever, but I think at this point, they're one of the biggest bands, or certainly what Ronnie does is one of the biggest really in the world right now. He's been doing it for a really long time. We've toured together before. But yeah, I mean, I think if we were to get the opportunity, it would be awesome. But again, that just comes down to whether that would ever even happen or come up. But I don't know.
Yeah.
So basically, my answer is I have no idea.
That's kind of what I got from it. So. All right, and then my last question is, would you ever play Unbroken live ever?
Sure.
So underrated.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against it. It's a song. Is that the Avengers soundtrack song?
I don't know. You're the one who's saying it. So.
We'll ask him the question.
I released a tremendous amount of material. Yeah, I can remember because there was a Transformers. The Transformers set the world on fire, so that was good. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we would do that again. It's sort of nebulous. You're asking questions that are great questions that I don't have an answer to because they.
God damn it, Andy. That's the point of these things.
I know. So I would say unequivocally maybe.
Okay, I'll take that.
All right.
Thank you.
Hi.
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 My name is Calandra. How are you today, Andy?
I'm great.
Good.
Are you filming this?
I am filming.
I got a much better angle here than you do. I can get you in it, I can get Andy, I can get that person in it. Is it on? Did you start it
It
yet?
is on, yeah. Okay, so my question is kind of a two-parter. So what is your most favorite and least favorite part of recording new music?
Well,
And
my
why?
favorite part of recording new music?
Yeah, and least favorite.
My least favorite part is the time it takes sometimes. You know, from having an idea to actually like making it happen, that can sometimes be tedious. My favorite part is when it is like when the song is coming together and all that's left is for me to do a vocal on it or add an extra thing or whatever, and then like really sweetening the song, adding strings, whatever it is. You know, I love the process where we're just fine tuning stuff. That's really fun to like add a backup vocal or add a gang vocal or just all the kind of supplementary stuff. That's always the most fun for me.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody say hi.
I can say that.
It's still recording.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
So my question comes with a little bit of a backstory and
Okay.
a picture. So 10 years ago, about 10 years ago, I was 15 in a 99-cent store on Ventura and Bay Rise.
Okay.
And I was with my friend, and we saw a guy, and I was like, I swear I know that guy.
Sure, it was me.
It was And so I was extremely nervous.
Yeah. I don't know why, I just want to say this, I got obsessed with that 99-cent store, I don't know why.
It's a really good 99
I went in there
cent
one
store.
time and they had Batman, the animated series action figures in there, which is like 30 years after that being relevant. And I was like, fuck, I need to come here every day. Like, what if they get more shit?
My high school was right across the street, and so I was in there all the time. But no, I was like, I went up to you and I called you by your full name. I said nothing else.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
You'd be surprised how often people say my whole name to me.
I know. And so now, almost 10 years later, now that I'm the same age that you were then, I'm like, that was so fucking weird. So my question is, hi, my name is Katie. How are you today? That's how I should have started it. That's a picture, yes.
Fantastic. Oh, lovely. Look at us. I was definitely hungover. Pretty much at all times in that era of my life. Looking for toys.
But that's about it. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Started like that. I'm
10 years later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you
Nice to
again.
meet you. It's great.
10 years from now.
Hello. You've got some 89 Batman cards in your fingers. You're also flipping me off, incidentally. You were holding it like this.
Yes, I didn't keep them, so I didn't lose them again, because I lost them on my purse earlier, but I actually got these for you.
For me? Do they have the gum inside? No. Thank you, this is very nice.
But yeah, I saw those and immediately thought, oh my gosh, I have to get these for Andy.
Thank you.
You
It's
never
my
know if
favorite.
you might not have one of
I
those.
will not eat the gum.
Yes. But, my question,
Thank you,
we'll
Bob.
start off with a little bit of background. You're welcome. I've been listening to you. I discovered you actually when I was in high school, and we were actually only a couple of years apart from each other. So you were young too.
Yeah.
Back when the Knives and Pins video first dropped out.
Yeah.
That's when I discovered Blackout Rides, and I have been a fan ever since. I have only got to see you twice, unfortunately, on the Trinity of Terror tour.
Okay.
But I hope that you guys come to Springfield someday.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
I'm
and,
here right
going from the era that you were when you were, in the Knives and Pins era, all the way to now with the Phantom Tomorrow, how did you evolve through those years? Like, what made you decide to change so much? Like, you went through the Wild Ones, and you went through all these different stages, and it's like, oh my goodness, their music changes. It's almost like you're an entirely different band now.
Sure.
And it's really, I mean, it is exciting to see you grow so much, and to see, you know, we're kind of growing along beside each other because we are so close in age. It's like, man, he went from being this dude in high school, and I was this person in high school, and now we're both this. It's like, wow, look at him now.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, that's lovely, but I think honestly, to answer your question to a certain degree, it's kind of in the question that you asked. The reality is, I think sometimes people don't necessarily understand how young I was when we started. In the Knives and Pens video, I was 17 then.
Yeah.
So, you know, the reality is, everyone who was a teenager when they first started listening to us, I would imagine is probably a pretty different person now, and has grown and evolved and went through eras and changes. I just did mine in front of everybody, you know. So,
That's true.
you have different interests as you get older. Your musical taste changes, your fashion sense changes, all that stuff. I think to a certain degree, we've always been able to remain true to the core of what it is, but when for me, like the other thing that's interesting is I was so much younger than all my peers. So all these bands that are kind of from our same era, I exist in this sort of weird no man's land because most of them were a decade older than me, but my band came out around the same time. So I was trying to keep up with all these people who were adults, who had a way about them, or knew what they wanted to do in life, or, you know, were just not a fucking kid trying to like pose and pretend that they were adult. So it's always been interesting for me to have been around, quote unquote, for as long as I have, and I grew up in front of people in so many ways. And I think now, probably more than ever, because I'm, you know, 33 and I'm not a child, I know so much more about who I am, and I feel feel so much more comfortable in my skin that the stuff we make now feels as true to what I want to make as possible. And I know that that's not always going to be the case for the listener, because I think a foolish artist is one who thinks that they can recapture their 20s or whatever. And I think that that's not true. The best thing you can do is to not try to make a record that's as good as your best record or whatever, but just make stuff that makes you really happy and you hope is entertaining for the people who listen to you. So we will continue to evolve, and I'll wear different clothes and weird shit. But I think that that's probably the main reason why there were so many evolutions. It's just for me, I was growing up.
It is, and it's very, it's awesome to watch that growth in you, and I look forward to see where Blackout Rides goes next.
Thank you, appreciate it. Hi.
Hi, my name is Kiki.
Hi.
I met you yesterday, you didn't tell me all the time, and my brain broke circuit the second I came up to you. But, I wanted to ask, what was it that made you start Blackout Rides?
I was a singular focus in my mind that I wanted to do something like this. So when I was a really young kid, all I wanted to do was have a band. That was like the dream, was just to have a band. So it started with getting local people together. I grew up in Cincinnati, and just finding people who could play instruments. And it was called Beer Sack, because I liked dancing and I wanted to have a band like that. And at some point, I decided that I shouldn't just have my last name be the band. So it switched to Blackout Rides around 2006, so I was 15. And I, again, just started the cycle of finding people. And what I found through all of that was that being on stage offered me an opportunity, especially in those days because I was so young, to be something other than just the sort of, loner teenager who just wanted to draw and make costumes and read comic books and stuff. It gave me a chance to express something on stage that made me feel not unlike a comic book hero. I could be this different version of myself. I could really let loose. And, I'm pretty socially awkward in situations, particularly when I was younger, I was especially. And it was an opportunity to kind of be this ultra version of myself. And from an art perspective, it was a chance to write about stuff that meant something to me. When I was a kid, I had all these ideas about how I saw the world. Like a lot of people who are younger, you definitively know that you're just right about everything. And you've got these really definitive statements about the way you see the world, or the way that you see how other people perceive things, or relationships and all this. And when you're young, to have the opportunity to have a microphone or a way of saying, this is how I feel about shit, combining that with the ability to kind of lift yourself up and make something of yourself, those two things are really appealing to me. So I went through the process of 22 different people before I found what Blackout Rides was going to be. But it was always just a singular focus. When I was 7, I told my pediatrician that I was going to be a rock star, and they always laughed and that's not really how it works. And I never understood why they said it, because it didn't make any sense to me why just because I was from the west side of Cincinnati, I couldn't do the things that these people did. They weren't magic. They weren't like shit from the sky. It was just they believed in it and they worked for it. So it's always been the biggest thing for me. Thank you. Hi, that's a cool name.
Well, I think my brother's cooler. I'm Olivia. I've been a fan since I was 12, so 13 years or something now. I'm 25 now, so I kind of grew up with you, and I'm from Indiana, so we grew up in kind of the same area.
Sure.
You've been a big hero of mine for many years.
Thank you, that's so kind.
I'm trying really hard not to lose my mind right now.
Oh, okay.
All right.
You're doing great.
Thank you. I'm trying really hard. My question is there a lyric you wrote that made you go, holy crap, that was such a great lyric, I can't believe I wrote that?
Wow. Maybe not to that degree where I was like, wow, I'm blessing the world with this lyric. There are songs that have come easier than others. Sometimes it takes me a long time to figure out how I want to say something, and then sometimes a song will be done all in one sitting. I remember from Resident Divine, the song Resurrect the Sun, I had the World of Sleeping line in my head, and then I went and sat on a porch and I wrote the entirety of the song in like one pass. Same thing with The First Savior. All the lyrics were done in 40 minutes. So it just, sometimes it depends on, for me, like if I know what I want to say, it's easier to craft it. Sometimes I go into a song and I have a title or a concept I want to get across, and I got to work backwards. But songs like The First Savior, Resurrect the Sun, Savior 2, what's the last song on Fan Tomorrow? Fall Eternal? Yeah, that one all came together quickly. Yeah, again, ballads, I guess, are easier for me to write than the heavy ones.
No, I understand. I don't write music anymore. I write short stories and everything, so I completely relate to like working backwards. Sometimes you just have to do that.
Yeah.
And I do have one final question. It's one of those questions that you probably can't answer. Can you please, someday, somewhere, just so I know that you've done it, can you please play Devil's Choir live? That is my favorite song by you guys.
I would like to. With your question, I'm going to say the same thing, maybe.
All right, well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm Isaiah, I saw you yesterday.
Yes.
And I have 3 questions actually.
Let's do it.
One, what's your favorite album you made? And 2, what's it like in the early days of as a kid there?
Sure.
And then what advice you have people making music, music?
Well, first question, every new record or new thing that we make is my favorite thing. The thing that we've put together right now that'll come out at some point soon, I can't say anything, but right now that's my favorite thing. So whenever you're doing something, at least for me, if you're so invested, it's hard for me to think about anything else. But I would say objectively, in terms of everything coming together in time in my life, and the record that my friend Ryan Downey calls our time capsule record, which means like the thing that we would bury and then the future would know about us, it's probably Wretched and Divine. Like it's the most complete thing. And thank you. I mean, it was definitely our biggest record, and it'll probably go down to being that way.
Yeah, back in late 2013, early 2014.
Sure, yeah. Oh, awesome. As far as, what was the second question? Was Knives and Pens era?
Yeah, it was like early days.
I was sitting, I mean, I can tell you, I was a kid, so like I was eating like pizza rolls in the basement of my friend's house. And I wrote Knives and Pens, and Chris Stewart and I wrote Knives and Pens in the basement of his house in Independence, Kentucky, while eating pizza rolls. So I was a teenager. Yeah. And advice for starting a band, I say it all the time, but I really mean it. You have to be unafraid that people are going to tell you that you suck. There's nothing that people like to do more than shit on stuff. I don't know if you've checked out the internet recently. So, and especially in this day and age, you have to have, forgive the expression, balls of steel. You got to be able to know that what you're doing means something to you and not allow anybody else to dissuade you from that, no matter what it is. You know. But secondarily, you have to be able to evaluate yourself and know what your strengths are. So if you have kind of a low raspy voice and you're trying to sing like high tenor songs and your voice is cracking and it's not working for you, then you need to adjust and write the things that you have. So being able to evaluate what your talents are and what you can bring to the table and being honest with yourself, and then knowing, fuck you, this is what I'm good at, those are kind of the 2 key things. Hi.
Come on up.
Hi there. Hi.
Hi.
Do you like K-pop?
Do I? I'm not familiar with who's the best. Who should I know? Who's your favorite?
Stray Kids.
Stray Kids, okay.
Clearly this half of the room's favorite.
I'm old and dumb, so I don't know. I will, that may be true, but that doesn't preclude me from being dumb. But I will look it up. Thank you very much. Thank you. That was a lovely question. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Robert.
Hi, Rob. Hi.
So on your tours, when you've been in smaller, more intimate venues versus the big ones, what are some pros and cons of each, and which one do you prefer?
I remember, it's kind of a random reference, but one of my favorite sort of lines is Penn Jillette, the magician, Penn Teller. I listened to his radio show every week since I was a kid. And yeah, Sunday school. I'm a Sunday school listener. And he always references that when they play like big theaters, you feel completely alone on stage. Whereas in a small venue, you're seeing the audience, you feel the connectivity. So there's pros and cons to both in that sometimes if you're putting on a large-scale show, you want to entertain more than you want the direct connection. It's nice to see the people in the front row and you want to feel that energy, but you're also thinking of like you want to put on the biggest show possible. Pyro, video screens, all that stuff. But if you're playing, like a ballad song or something, it's so much better to be in the capacity of being close to people because you can really feel the energy of the audience in that way. So I wish that I could give you a one's better than the other thing, but I think both serve different functions, sort of.
Can't wait to get seeing Kansas City.
Thank you. See you there.
Do you want to?
I would prefer my record. Oh, that way I can give you the shot, because you're the one asking the question. Well, closer. There you go. Good job. Unlike some people, I don't like to hurt myself on stage.
I don't do it anymore.
Go ahead, I'm recording.
Do it? No.
Hi, I'm Colin.
Hi, Colin.
Ever since you arrived, I started I started looking into like what you do, and I will listen to an album at some point.
Yeah.
But
When I arrived in this room,
what?
Since I arrived in this
No, on
room.
day one of this convention.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I thought you had just spent 40 minutes like a ball. You say you have a question.
Okay, so my question is, ever since I started looking into, he voiced Batman, and I was like, my question to you is, how did it happen, and how do you feel about being known as one of the voices of Batman?
Well, again, it was kind of just the fine folks in DC know that I'm an obsessive fanboy, and I've gotten to do a lot of crossover stuff with them and the store Hot Topic over the years. They did their 75th anniversary collection and all different things. So they were aware that there was this rock band guy who is obsessed with the character. So when they did the Dark Knight Death Metal, I was kind of, I guess, an obvious call in that way, because, you know, I sort of objectively, like, I wear studded leather jackets and sort of pretend that I'm Batman, so that version of the character worked perfectly. And as far as, I mean, it's a dream, you know, when people, I do these conventions and people bring up the Funko Pop of that version of the character, for me to sign is like, I mean, fuck, there's no cooler feeling, you know, so, yeah, I'm very happy about it.
Are you gonna voice Batman in the future?
I mean, I would love to, so start the petition.
Thank you.
I thought that you were bad at the food for the next minute. And I kept catching my eye, like, who?
Hi. I'm like 4'9". I'm like so small. I can't reach this microphone.
That's a tremendously long name.
Is that your fault?
Huh?
What's the full name? I'm like 4'9". I'm like, what was the other part?
No, I was just saying I can't reach this microphone to save my life.
Okay.
But hi, I'm Catherine, but
Hi.
I go by Cat.
Sure.
So I don't know. I must have like made this up in my head or something.
Can I tell you something? My stand are custom made for me because for the first like 10 years of my career, did exactly what you're doing, and I would break them every show.
This is such a nightmare.
It got to the point where, I mean, where's Yanni? What was it, like maybe, I had like a bet going where it would be like, first song, I could break the mic stand. I would run out on stage and then snap it immediately and then laugh. But anyway, so I have like mic stands made out of steel now. They weigh a fuck ton and they can't be bent. But I did break one, didn't I? We don't know how. Yeah. So anyway, what we need to do is get a, what was it, 4 foot?
I'm 4'9".
4'9" specific steel mic stand for you.
Yeah. I don't know. I probably made this up in my head, but I know you said back in the past that you really like punk rock bands like Social Distortion, Misfits, The Cramps.
It's okay.
You might want to take that off the stand.
I don't know. So I guess my question is like, because I'm kind of like that person that was back when you did Reach for the Sky by Social Distortion as a cover.
Yeah.
Would you ever maybe, I guess this is like 3 questions.
I'm not gonna stand here for this.
Would you ever consider collaborating with Mike Ness if you had the opportunity?
Yeah.
Or would you ever, and if you could do like one song by maybe by the Cramps or Social Distortion, which ones would they be? And if like you ever did like another Andy Black era, and if you ever did like another Andy Black era, would you ever consider maybe going down in that genre? Because I know you did My Way by like Frank Sinatra, Stitch and all that stuff, and that would be really cool to see. I'm sorry, I'm a mess.
You want to know when it's my turn?
You're doing great.
Yes, I absolutely would. That's one of my biggest heroes. I would love to do When Angels Sing by Social Distortion. And yes, I would love to make a more punk rock oriented 80 Black record. So.
You did great.
Hello.
Hi, Andy.
How you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I've been a fan since 2009. I think I already told you that. Canada ago. And I had a question revolving around Richard and Design because when I saw you in 2013 Madison at the Orthopedic Theater, you were opening for like all the time.
Sure.
I know you and Richard worked really closely on that, but have you guys ever thought about doing like a comic series that you had funds for back then? Like, was that ever in the works, or do you just want to keep that solely sonically historical?
Yeah, I mean, I think the truth is that was always an intention, but it's also different then. You have to understand, like, now it's pretty commonplace for it almost being part of the pre-sale package for people when they make records is like, oh, there's a comic book, and by and large, the comic book has nothing to do with the content of the band or the record or whatever. So, and it's nothing against it. It's just that there's a lot of companies that do that, and there weren't awesome companies like Z2 like there is now, where you can go to them and you can make a record and you can make an album and you can go, here's things that represent both, and they can do this all book and all that stuff. At the time, there was no game in town for that, and it wasn't as if we could go to DC or Marvel and be like, hey, we have this concept record that we're this rock band you've never heard of, can we do a comic book? So I think it was just the time sort of passed. I know that Richard had worked for years on 3D modeling all those characters, and he has all of the I believe he has all of the elements for those things, and I think at some point there was conversations with him and Pat about doing something about it, but I don't know if that ever went anywhere. The reality is maybe someday, because I know Richard has all that stuff, and Richard and I talk from time to time about how we can utilize the just wealth of character design and all these things that we had, because there was, when we did that, I mean, it was a bound book of character design, descriptions of characters, and I literally on day one with Feldman handed him this book of, here's everything this record is going to be. So that exists, and I have in my garage and at my house tons of original prints that Richard made of all the characters and stuff. So I'd love for, hopefully, the other things people ask all the time about, can you ever do like a vinyl release of Wretched and Divine, and that just comes down to label politics. So it is something that we've been working on for a while and hope we can do someday. And at some point when we do that, that's maybe when we can do something more involved with all the characters and everything.
Sweet. I have one more question real quick. I just get PJ if I can.
Sure, yeah.
I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite song by them?
That's rough.
I have to choose at least by myself.
I'm trying to think of what, the truth is, I'm trying to think of what song was my introductory song. I'm trying to think back to what was the song that I first heard.
Mine was Boy Who Destroyed the World. It was on the Tony Hawk soundtrack.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it was probably Days of Phoenix. That was probably the first song I heard as a kid, and that was my introduction. So I would go with that one just because it was the first.
Good choice. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, in an effort to get through as many people as we can, we're going into lightning round mode.
Okay.
Quick questions.
Only 7 questions per people now.
Oh, okay. So, hi, my name is Natalie.
Hi.
I'm gonna let you face and not be shy.
You're looking at my face.
I grew up being in dance and singing, and one of the things that I really loved about that is that it gave me confidence. And outside of the stage, I was really shy. And you talked about growing with it. I was wondering if you started with that confidence, or if it was kind of like you had the confidence on stage, and then off stage you didn't.
Yeah, I mean, it never occurred to me as a kid that people wouldn't want to watch me do things. Sort of a fatal flaw of mine was I was always assumed that I could entertain people, and then the world told me maybe no for a while. But I always believed that if I could just be on stage, then I could make somebody laugh, I could make somebody smile, I could do something. So it was always a huge part of my childhood to see the world is telling me not to entertain people. It was always a huge part of my childhood to want to do that. It really was the offstage part. See, that's the problem that I have, is that nowadays there's this expectation that people have that because I'm a person who's on stage and because I'm a person who makes records and music videos, whatever else, then I also have to constantly post about my life and pictures of myself and all this other stuff, like that's what gives me a lot of anxiety. I'm not really that active on social media because it's not that I don't understand it or that, it's just for me, like I'm a very private person. I get anxious about the idea of having to be on display all the time. For me, there's sort of a time and a place for it, but in the modern world, like that's not really acceptable. So I feel like sort of a man without time because I look at the younger bands who just innately do it, and it's like it's really cool. But it's just for me, like if I'm at home, I'm very low key. If I go on stage, then I'll jump off the speaker stack. It's a very different sort of thing.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Happy to be here.
Hi, young Maddox.
Oh, you look awesome.
Thank you, appreciate it. I always wanted to ask music artists this, I've never got the opportunity. Do you listen to your own music? Like, because I figure music artists would make music that they're interested in.
Sure, I understand the
And
question.
so I didn't know, like, it's probably, like, it might be bad to hear your own voice all the time, but if you like what you make, do you listen to it?
Well, I would say that there's two phases. There is when we finish a record, because when you're making a record, you're hearing it every day, every step of the way. So when the record's done, I listen to almost nothing else once it's done until the day comes out, and then I never want to hear it again. Because it's like, for me, I'm constantly trying to think of the track listing, how this sounds, how any last tweaks, but once it's out, there's fucking nothing I can do about it. Like, it's over, it's yours now, you know what I mean? So I'll listen a lot then, and then before tours, I put together what I think the set list should be, and I'll send it to the dudes, and we'll have a playlist, and then I'll listen to that in my car, just so I'm familiar with everything. Even though I know I'm going to forget half the lyrics or sing the wrong thing, I try anyway. But that's really the context in which I would listen to it. Like, I don't often like get in the car and be like, fuck the shadow side, man, let's go. But if I'm working in that capacity, I'll do it.
All right, thank you.
Hi, Andy. My name's Luca.
Hi, Luca.
I've been a big fan of the Andy Show since it started.
Thank you.
And from watching it all the time, most people who watch it will know you're kind of prone to a lot of awkward and insane moments.
That's pretty much what the whole show is.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask, what's the most recent one you've had?
I've had like a pretty lucky streak these last 2 days, where like I flew here and fucking almost nothing happened.
That's good.
Yeah. No, there was only one thing. I dropped a pillow on a guy in the plane, and like it wasn't a big deal. All right, this is okay. Takes a few steps here. When I broke my ribs, in 2011, I did not do any kind of physical therapy, so I ended up with really bad nerve damage and muscle damage in my back by 2014. So I had to start doing physical therapy, and that's why, like now, I'm a lot more health conscious.